Hey, hello everyone. It's the 25th of September, 3 p.m. And this is Dr. Nelson Vasquez from Florida. I am here with my guest today, Dom, who also lives in Florida. And we're going to spend the next hour listening to his stories and answering some questions. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. You can also let us know where you're watching from. And as I mentioned this morning in our live stream at 6 a.m., today would have been my father's 97th birthday. He passed away 5 years ago at 92. So happy birthday, Dad. All right. So, Dom, how are you doing today?
Good afternoon. Yeah, I'm doing very well. Thank you, Dr. Nelson, for having me.
All right. So, I like to talk about the stories of healing that we encounter, especially those that have gotten there with a low carb, ketogenic, or carnivore diet. And basically, that's what we're going to do today. Dom, I'm going to let you introduce yourself and then give us your story. And if you have any questions for Dom, please put them in the chat. If you put QQQ in front of it, it'll be easier for me to identify. So go ahead, Dom.
Yeah, well, thank you for this opportunity again. I'm very kind of happy to talk about my experience, and I bored my family to death, and I never fail to talk to people about the diet, and just because I'm very kind of passionate about it because of all the good things that have happened to me since I've gone down this path. So I'm 54 right now. And I'm originally from Croatia. I've kind of lived a life of moving around. I left Croatia back in 2000, moved to Ireland, lived in Dublin for a while, and then moved to Bahrain for work as well. Lived there for a couple of years. Came back to Ireland, then went on to live in Saudi Arabia for 4 years, and ended up in the US about 10 years ago. Like most people, I've been steadily adding about maybe 20 pounds every decade, so about 2 years ago I found myself weighing about maybe 240, 250 pounds, and on my 6'2", that doesn't sound like a lot. I'm not like a lot of these other guys who were 300 pounds plus, but I was, as you can see, I was pretty bad at that point, and I had a host of issues that we are told are normal for the age, back pain, joint pain, skin issues, bloating, messy stools, reflux. I had all that. I had like history of like 20 years of back pain. It's pretty bad. Lower back pain, upper back pain. I figured out that I had an accelerating rheumatoid arthritis as well on top of it. My wrist or my right hand was almost kind of to the point that I couldn't lift anything heavy. Starting to get lumps on my finger joints and stuff. So it was overall pretty bad. I was eating too much. I was drinking too much, etc. And I tried intermittent fasting before COVID came. It was partially successful. It was hard because I was eating everything, so I had these crazy hungers, and then would overeat when I was finally time to eat. I did lose weight. I gained it all back with vengeance as soon as I went off this unsustainable way of trying to stay fit, and kind of when I think of that experience, I think of something that Dr. Shafi once said, is that if you're eating a standard diet, the only way to stay fit is to have a borderline disorder, relationship with food, and that's what intermittent fasting really was for me. So one day I was flying back. I was in Canada for work and looking at some photographs I took, during the trip. And I saw an old man in pain. And then I started just browsing the nets. And I remember that some carnivore videos popped up over on YouTube. I think it was first I found Dr. Sean Baker. And then as I continued, I was kind of like, yeah, I could probably do this because I love meat, but I kind of ate a lot of bread and fries and all this stuff and beer and all that. So, but I said I could probably try it, and I spent that 5-hour flight really educating myself on this, and I made a decision at that point. That was 2 years ago, and a few months to go carnivore. And I landed home. I told my wife and my mother that I'm going carnivore and I'll see what's going to happen. Of course, I immediately heard about, vitamin deficiencies and fiber and colon cancer and all this. Said, no, I don't believe in that anymore. I've kind of done enough research to kind of understand this a little bit better. I mean, I've obviously been researching this a lot in the last 2 years and constantly keeping myself up to date. But I mean, those 5 hours on the plane were kind of enough to kind of say, hey, there is something there. Now, why I'm very passionate about this is because that was like first 2 months were an incredible journey. I lost 20 pounds first month, 20 pounds second month. And by month 4, I was down 60 pounds. And at that point, I was down to about 180 pounds. I figured out I had to eat more, and then I started eating more, and then I hit the weights as well. So then I gained back 20. So I'm now today at 200, down from 250. As you can see here on the left is what I was like, and then on the right is like this from a year ago, but I still pretty much look the same today here. Training heavy weights. Thanks God, because of carnivore diet, my right wrist is now, I'm completely free of any rheumatoid arthritis symptoms. I can deadlift 350 pounds, 3 sets of 5. And that's the first months were really miraculous because my back pain cleared within like 4 to 6 weeks. My joint pain cleared within 3 months. My digestion cleared up within a month. First month was bumpy. If I was doing it again, I might maybe decide to go slowly, and I went cold turkey. I followed some stuff from Professor Bart Kay. He was recommending, no, don't do that because you will mess up your microbiome. But I did that. I wasn't aware. But my problem is I'm abstainer really. I'm not good at moderation, So I understand 0 and 1, and it's kind of hard to kind of try to stay in between. So that's why cold turkey approach worked very well for me, and just like. I managed to just immediately eliminate everything that was bad. So joint pain was gone, skin cleared up. I went from about 40% body fat for maintaining it around 15 right now. Energy levels went through the roof. So before I started carnivore, I've given up on pretty much all physical activity. I was not even managing to do yard work. That would kind of like an hour yard work would really make me feel all in pains and tired and ready for bed. Now I can do 2 hours in my backyard, then lift weights, then go to the beach, and then go out at night. It's kind of like incredible amount of energy and that we get. And I understand now the biology behind it. It's all about our mitochondria that's running a lot cleaner and a lot better on a ketone type fuel than glucose. So that's pretty much it in the essence. I've been pretty strict over the last 2 years and a few months there. Social occasions are sometimes hard. I went sailing this summer with 10 other people. We chartered a boat, and I said during that week, I'm not gonna be that guy, And I said, oh, whatever's cooked for food, I'm either gonna fast or I'm gonna eat whatever I can, And I've come to understand this is shouldn't be a theology. You have to be flexible to an extent. There's some business dinners where people book Asian restaurants. Pretty hard to stay clean of carbs. It's impossible to stay clean of seed oils when you're eating outside. It's just like we get a lot of that stuff when we eat outside. And whenever I travel, I'm just aware that that's happening. But in my home, at least, that's my sanctuary. That's where we cook on ghee, we cook on tallow, we cook on butter. We just make sure there's nothing there that's kind of the bad stuff that we know now is bad. Some other interesting things. So I live in Florida. I stopped using sunscreen altogether about 2 years ago, and I can stay in the sun for hours and hours, peak of the day. If I start feeling a little bit of burning sensation of skin, I either go into shade or put a shirt on, but I don't use sunscreen anymore. And I haven't once burnt and peeled in that period of time, and I have not been avoiding the sun. I'm pretty active here in the Florida. We go in the water, we do boating, we go on the beach very often. But yeah, another thing that's resolved really, like I had like dandruff since like my almost like late teens. I had dandruff regularly. If I didn't use anti-dandruff shampoo, I would have like white shoulders within like a couple of days. So that thing cleared up, and I stopped using shampoo as well. I stopped using shower gels. I'm using cold press beef tallow soap, because I realized, from education, that our skin absorbs these things, and these things are hormone disruptors, and we don't even know what's in them. I mean, they're not forced to always put all the ingredients because you don't eat that stuff. So I'm buying, it's a cold press tallow soap. I use it on my hair twice a week. Most of the time I wash my hair with just water, and my hair has grown stronger. I'm no dandruff, and it's that's another very, very good side effect of this healing, the whole healing story. So that's why I'm very passionate, and happy to share the story and just to try and get. I see, what pains me the most, Dr. Nelson, is walking around seeing people that I know who suffer from things that I know can be fixed, and they're not ready to. They think you're crazy. How can you do this? Like,
yeah.
I mean, you have to choose,
Wonderful. Were you expecting the benefits? Because you were getting pretty big, and you made a conscious decision to, okay, I'm going to start doing this. Were you expecting the improvements on the rheumatoid arthritis? Were you hoping at least that would help?
This is one of the kind of aspects that interested me the most, because I realized that I had it. I had a blood test, and then I had the clear picture of being 90% RA, and I did expect that I will become better. But I didn't expect the extent to which, and then the speed at which this happened. I'm completely free of. I mean, I squat, I deadlift, like it's crazy. I mean,
did your doctor ever put you on medication for it?
So, I come from a culture where we don't go and see a doctor until we're kind of like very bad, So
falling apart.
So I haven't really. I've seen my doctor when I was a year into carnivore. That's the first time I saw him since COVID. I had a very bad case of COVID, and I subscribed this to the condition I was in. So that's the first time I saw a doctor in like years. So I didn't really seeing a doctor, and then when I saw him a year later, and he said, you look very different, and he was a good guy. He saw that my cholesterol was a little bit higher, but everything else was perfect. He said, I'm not going to put you on statin. I said, yeah, thanks for thanks for not offering it, because I wouldn't take it.
Well, so, that makes me think he has some critical thinking, at least, which I expect from all doctors. I, being a doctor for a long time, I do expect doctors to give you the best care possible. And I hated that sometimes you go to the doctor and they just see a number. They don't take the whole picture into account. Oh, your cholesterol is 201. You're going to die if you don't have a statin.
No.
When you have to take everything into account to make those decisions.
Yeah.
But he acknowledged that you were different and the whole picture looked so good that he didn't even say anything about. Well, he did say something. It's interesting. He did say, "I'm not going to put you on statins."
Yeah. Yeah.
So he didn't recommend it at that time because he was taking a look at the whole thing. And this is what happens. Cholesterol is probably the number one issue that many doctors have against ketogenic and carnivore diets. Not everybody has an increase in cholesterol, by the way, but if you do, you have to take the whole picture into account. You cannot just rely on that one test is 1 point above, because even cholesterol, triglycerides, all these things, they can change day to day, week to week, month to month, and we usually take a picture of a static picture of those numbers at 1 point, and 2 months later we evaluating it with the patient, and by that time the picture might be completely different, number one, and number two, it does change from day to day, week to week. It can change wildly depending on your diet. So, and many still don't accept the fact, it is easy to prove, that blood sugars have more effect on the cholesterol numbers than any saturated fat that you eat, than any cholesterol in the food that you eat. The most significant changes on those numbers happen with sugar, with insulin resistance, so whoever he is, I'm glad he seems to use a little bit of critical thinking when evaluating, because I'm pretty sure he was probably not a low carb doctor, but at least he gave it the benefit of the doubt, right? If everything else looks fine, then why worry about this one thing? Your family, anyone else eating this way at home?
So, I mean, I would love them all to do it, but I'll tell you about my son. Like he's the closest to carnivore in my family. He's my youngest, he's not 12 now. He had headaches. He had headaches for like about 2 years, from the age of 9 till the age of 11, and we went to every doctor possible, gastro and neurologist. We did CT, we did MRI, we did, all sorts of scans, and everybody was like shrugging their shoulders, and then the neurologist told us, oh, if Tylenol fixes, that's great. I said, well, he's been having Tylenol every day for like more than almost 2 years now. So I don't think that's great, because Tylenol destroys your gut, destroys your liver. And now we see there's other issues with Tylenol. So that's not great. Anyway, when he did the blood test, it was about a year ago, some autoimmune markers showed up on that. And then it kind of clicked for me. And I told my wife, okay, he's now going to go carnivore for a period of time, and let's see what happens. So he's gone from having daily headaches with daily Tylenol to no headaches in a week.
Wow.
And not only that, but he was terribly car sick. He was vomiting in car all the time. We like to go sailing. He couldn't just, if the sea is a little bit rougher, he would get just seasick, crazy seasick. All of that gone away, gone. So he was strict carnivore for about 2 months, 3 months. I mean, kid was funny. I bought a dehydrator, so I was taking ribeyes, and I was dehydrating ribeyes for him, and he would bring this as his lunch, his Ziploc bag, while other kids were having, bags of crisps, and apple juice and all this sort of crap, But he would just be chewing on his steak there for for school lunch, and then he slowly kind of started. Kid is a kid. Sometimes he'll have it's a birthday, he's gonna have a piece of cake and add a little bit of rice and all that. So he's more keto-ish now, but I can tell you that he's kind of free of headaches as long as we control don't let him have on regular basis. any sodas or any kind of like cakes and sweets and stuff like that. So he's regular off that stuff only for birthdays and some special
All
occasions.
right. Well, that's pretty good.
Kind of
I have
um,
one of my sons. If you ask him right now, are you? Because I did hear this question just 2 days ago. Someone asked him, "Are you still doing carnivore?" And he said, "Well, dirty carnivore." And it's okay. Uh, my other son, uh, he eats very low carb most of the time.
Mhm.
We were celebrating my grandson's birthday the past few days, so he may have gone off plan a little bit, but it's all good. The thing is, we don't think about a low carbohydrate or ketogenic or carnivore diet when we're having headaches, right? And a lot of people might not even believe you. I'm I'm pretty sure they don't believe me. They don't believe anyone who says all those symptoms might be. I'm not saying they are absolutely
Yeah.
from too many carbohydrates, but very often they are. And once they experience that, even if they go a little bit of plan and they start not feeling good, they realize, okay, I better stick with being
Yeah.
this way. When you're metabolically healthy, however, you can you can improve your health, and then you may be able to add here and there some things. However, like you mentioned, I personally am not a good moderator. Okay, I definitely do better with just abstaining. Now, it could something could be there next to me, and once I make a decision, I'm not gonna have that. I'm pretty good with it. But then, if I eat something that may not be carnivore, may may not be considered a big deal. Yeah, we're talking about very low carbohydrate content, maybe a pickle, olives, or uh, some nuts. Then it's more difficult for me to moderate that. So I do much better uh, when I'm strictly abstaining from those things. If you have any questions for Don, please put them in the chat. Uh, I did have another question. So uh, it so the members of the family do eat a sort of a meat heavy diet, even if it's not completely strictly carnivore,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That's. I mean, if I cook dinner, it's like 5 ribeyes on the table, and that's it. And or if like my wife is away now this week, so boys are now just eating burgers. Yesterday I cooked beef shank, and so. But yeah, it's typically meat heavy, very meat heavy at home. My boys get a little bit done, a little bit of vegetables and maybe rice. And my wife cooks, and sometimes she makes tacos and stuff. But
Uh,
I'm just cooking for myself most of the time. Eat twice a day. My standard breakfast is like 8 eggs with bacon and a third of stick of butter, and then I have about 2 pounds of beef throughout the day. Maybe one meal, maybe two.
oh my God, you're gonna have a heart attack.
Oh yeah, yeah.
In case you didn't get it, I was being completely
I know.
facetious.
I know.
Just anyone who watches this and
Yeah,
later clips that and says,
yeah.
Dr. Vasquez said that.
But
Uh,
around my son's headaches, I believe it was some kind of low grade inflammation that we all carry in various parts of our bodies because it kind of links with like car sickness and seasickness. I believe there's some kind of issue in the third year, and if this inflammation goes away and you go back to being metabolically healthy, it's as you say,
yeah,
that
absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with that.
yeah.
Uh, anyways, let's say hello to a couple of people here. We have Juliet, uh, who says also that she's working. I apologize for if you hear a dog in the background. Angela, hello. Sandy, thank you. We have Sharon, Marianne, Michael, GFG Homestead, Eleni. You working, Eleni? Probably you work every day. Uh, Hi, Nikki. Miss Laugh a lot. Hello, Rick. Rick, do you ever get any headaches? I don't think this man gets sick at all. Lenny says, awesome transformation. Yeah. Looks like a totally different man. Sandy, the same. Anthony. Okay. There we go. Now, hi, everyone. Looks like she was signed in from two different couches. Greetings from Tampa, Mike Seeley, Larry. All right. If you have any questions for Dom, please put them in the chat. I know you were in the last meetup we did in Melbourne. Were you also at the first one we had done several
No,
months before?
I just met you the last time we were there
Okay.
in that Brazilian restaurant.
Okay. Yeah, we had done one. I don't know, like 5 months before, or something like that. Probably more. Might have been almost a year. Larry. All right, we do have a question here. Do you think carnivore will help with seasickness on a cruise? I think Dom probably just answered that question before knowing, but go ahead. What do you think, Dom?
Well, if it's if you're also car sick or seasick as well, it's worth giving it a shot. But you have to be consistent, for a couple of months probably to get a true benefit of all that. It's potentially, yes, depends what the cause is, but as Dr. Nelson said, not everybody's got the same cause. There might be some other issues in the background there that getting rid of inflammation will not solve, but I think getting rid of inflammation is an important part of it.
Yeah, and definitely, I don't think it would hurt or cause more problems, but definitely, I mean, I think it can only help. Rick says that he only gets headaches when he gets the flu. Good day, Lois. Lena from California. Where in California are you located? California is pretty big. Luis, ¿cómo estamos? Luis is in Colombia, South America. All right. Okay. Juliet says hello to Luis and Luis. All right. We have a question here from Juliet. Do you eat beef raw too? Sorry if you said it earlier. Multitasking here.
Well, my favorite steak is ribeye, Pittsburgh style, raw in the middle and with very crusty on the outside. So yeah, I do like my steaks pretty close to rare, blue. I do also eat the steak tartare. I love steak tartare.
Okay.
In fact, the last time I was traveling, I was over in Serbia for business, and we ended up in. And these guys are really Balkans, really heavy, the meat heavy diet. So we ended up it was a feast. Anyway, I ordered a starter of steak tartare, and without reading the menu a lot, what came was like 2 pounds of steak tartare, and there were 4 of us. And they said, we're not going to eat this. You didn't realize this was a starter for like four persons. Anyway, I had all that. It was really nice.
Very good. I just had some picanha, which was black and blue
Okay.
as well.
Uh-huh.
Uh, as a matter of fact, it was a little bit charred on the outside, and in the very center was still cold because I had taken it out of the refrigerator. But all right.
Oh, I do love those steaks cold. If there's any leftover ribeye, and then I eat it directly from the fridge and slice it thinly without warming it up. That's
Yeah. Hello, Chris. My doctor started discussing statins before he issued a blood draw for a lipid panel. Of course, a carnivore diet eliminated that mindset. Good. Hello, Bill. Gut servant. Okay. What's up? All right. Uh, sunburn. You mentioned that. And I have noticed personally as well. Even though I've never had much problems with getting burned because I actually get sort of tan before burning much. But since going carnivore, absolutely nothing. And I used to have a lot of difference in my arms because when I drive, my left arm gets exposed, my right doesn't. And there was some difference. Now I don't see much of a difference
mm.
in my forearms, and I just don't get sunburned now. I haven't gone to spend 3 hours at the beach either, but this
Yeah.
is the experience that many people on carnivore relate. So it seems to be a real thing.
I strongly believe that that's related to the amount of linoleic acid that we get through oils that then gets into your skin, and that essentially is the stuff that burns. I think seed oils are probably the worst decision humans have ever made, moving over from animal fats to seed oils, and then that's so supported by the industry and by both the food industry and medical so community is just like super crazy when it's evident that a lot of metabolic conditions that are kind of escalating are clearly coinciding with the explosion in the amount of seed oils that we're eating. And we never had this stuff in our 4 or 5 million years that we evolved. We never had this stuff. This engine oil, heavily processed, and then to have American Heart Association sticking a heart healthy label on this stuff. Oh my God, that's kind of like when you open your eyes to these things, you just realize, how badly we're lied to, for interests of the corporations and various industries.
My out of the more commonly known seed oils that people make a list of mostly 8 of them, but you could actually have a list of probably 10, 12 different ones. But canola oil is the one that I've dig already deep into it. I have mentioned before I'm writing a book about it. I think I'm ready to go ahead and submit what I have to try to make it a little book. And when you think about it, all these oils first were engine lubricants, machinery lubricants, basically motor oil, before they were served on your plate in any way, shape, or form. Okay. After canola specifically, which comes from the rape seed, not grape, but rape seed, and 52% of the fatty acids in the rape seed oil are cardiotoxic. Okay.
Mm.
So if you consume it, humans will damage their heart. Well, fast forward to the 70s, they finally were able to, through what I still call genetic manipulation, crossbreeding techniques, that they produce a seed that only has about 2% of that cardiotoxic compound, which is a fatty acid. The thing is, the government allows up to 2% on your canola oil. So even if you're a canola oil user, you are getting up to 2% of that cardiotoxic fatty acid in your oil. So if I were going to use something like that, which jokingly I often say, I probably rather go down to the auto parts stores and get a high quality synthetic oil. But because it's motor oil, canola oil, and needs to be manufactured like in an oil refinery. And then they put some in the canola oil bottles that they sell you at the supermarket, and some go to big drums because it's biodiesel.
Mm.
I don't think so. So I avoid it like the plague. There is a lot of politics that were involved in bringing canola oil to the market, and there's some stories about industry, and of course we're not here to try to cast conspiracy theories, but money has a lot to do with that canola oil, which is a motor oil, ending up on your supermarket aisles with a heart healthy symbol on it, right? A
Yeah.
logo that says it's, and just because many of these oils have been proven to lower cholesterol. However, in the same studies of lowering cholesterol, there might be increases in strokes. So lowering cholesterol is not the end all of any. I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir here, but
Yeah.
uh, I try to avoid it, and I know that I don't even have to make a conscious decision to avoid it. If I'm eating just fresh meat, I'm not buying things in a box, a bag, or a can. It's not going to be my food. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the aisle, it's like 90% of what's there in the supermarket aisles is inedible. And if you look at the content, when you start rereading ingredients, oh my God, I mean, there's canola oil is everywhere. This stuff is everywhere. You're eating potato chips and essentially stuffing yourself with canola oil.
Sharon has a question for the Kiltz Mighty Tribe. Can you please discuss the Kiltz memberships? If you go to the website and click on the link just before you pay, you'll see what's included. But in general, the two tier, the basic membership will always be free. It's free, and it always will be free. Monday Zoom calls will continue. So on the next two tiers, you're gonna have one additional Zoom call for the first one, and two additional Zoom calls for the second one. There's only two additional tiers right now. And it tells you just before signing up the things that you will get. You will get additional books. I don't know if one of them has a shirt. So you do get some value for that. And on the higher of the two, which I suspect is going to have probably a smaller number of people, we'll be able to do more specific coaching about any issues you want to discuss. We'll also have some of the industry experts visiting there. I just was told today that Dr. Chafee is scheduling to be with us one of those Thursdays. So he requested that we do it at a different time that we had said. And of course, I said yes. So whenever he's going to be on, which is in a few months, it might be at 7 p.m., not at 5:30 p.m. All of them, though, Monday, Tuesday, Thursdays, will be 5:30 to 6:30, and we may change here and there depending on uh, the person who's invited and their timing. Dr. Chafee, of course, is in Australia, and I think there's like a 12 or 13 hours difference. So we definitely can be flexible on that. But if you go to the links at the website to upgrade before you pay, you don't have to put anything there. You will see what the levels have. Okay, Sharon? Any additional questions? If you want to email Alia, asking for more specifics, you can send an email to alia at drkiltz.com. Doctor spelled out, Alia, ALIA, at DOCTOR Kiltz.com. All right. All right. Rick uses seed oils to run his truck. Yeah. Hey, there might be a cleaner uh, fuel to burn for the environment. I don't know. I definitely would not run my body with the seed oils. All right. And if you want to check those particular tiers, this is where you go to the Kiltz Mighty Tribe. Okay. Great that Dr. Kiltz has some paid options to compete with other groups. Yeah, we wanted to add some value. We we are trying to make it affordable. It's not more expensive than anybody else out there, but uh, trying to offer more value to everyone at the Kiltz Mighty Tribe. Okay. Chris says, Dr. Nelson, I'm reaching satiety very quickly now, almost a year carnivore. Is it acceptable to eat 2 or 3 times a day? You definitely make your own decision. Uh, and the answer is yes, it's acceptable, whatever you want to eat. Now, if you're strict carnivore, I doubt it. I think Rick might be the exception. I doubt it you're going to be able to eat 3 times a day. You'll get satiated very quickly. But if you want to eat twice a day instead of once a day, that is fine. Sometimes I do that. Yesterday I had some salmon uh, and then I had later some picanha. And today I had some picanha just a couple of hours ago. So we'll see. I might not eat another meal in the day, but if I do, I still have some picanha in the refrigerator. Uh, my favorite cut is ribeye steak, but picanha's close up there. And by the way, picanha, even though it has a pretty separated the fat and the leaner meat, because picanha, if you understand where the cut comes from, is part of the sirloin. Okay, so it's the sirloin cap, the rump cap, picanha, culotte steaks in from it's a French the French name is culotte steaks. Uh, but picanha is very close to 50-50 fat and protein. All right. It is ribs and ribeye are pretty close to 50-50. Okay. Maybe oxtails as well. But in oxtails, it's the same situation. You have a leaner piece of meat with a cap of fat, whereas in the ribeye, it's all, intramuscular. Not all, but the the fat content within the picanha, it's all together, and the other part is pretty lean sirloin. sirloin is it's a good cut of meat. It's lean, and if you're trying to really lose weight and you haven't been able to break through your stall, uh, you might want to try eliminating some of the fat for a while and see what happens. Lean meat, increase exercise, and see if that helps break through the stall. There are many other things you can do to break the stall. All right. So,
Yeah, dairy, getting rid of dairy essentially also very often
yeah,
gives.
yeah. In particular, sometimes we don't think, well, we excuse it, the cheese, because most cheeses, particularly the hard cheese, and as long as it's not mixed with anything else, even if it's all just clean ingredients, there are a lot of people who continue to eat cheese. I'm one of them. I admit it. I love cheese, but it can contribute to store. So if you're eating dairy and you think it's something is not progressing the way you want it, try eliminating the dairy. Um, Papa Carnivore is trying to emulate Rick, both trying to get a heart attack, but it hasn't happened. Uh, all right. Okay. What do you think about avocado oil? So I'll tell you what I have very often. I'm the cook at home, especially since before the pandemic. I've been mainly the cook. I very frequently I just cook the meat, and if you want to have something else in the house, I have two of my adult children still in the house, then you fend for it. So I'll provide the steaks and or the chicken, whatever. I do have avocado oil next to my stove. I do have coconut oil, beef tallow, and even though not right now, but I also have ghee, which I make my own. I just buy butter and make the ghee. It's very good for cooking. Still gives you a little bit of that buttery taste, uh, but because you've removed the milk proteins, it has a higher uh, heat resistance, smoke point, whatever you want to call it. It's excellent for cooking high temperatures. Uh, Beef tallow, avocado oil, and ghee are all that have they have that characteristic. The beef tallow probably starts to smoke a little bit before the avocado oil or the ghee would.
Yeah.
You mentioned you use ghee, Dom, right?
Yeah, I use a lot of ghee. We're buying ghee from Costco, and it's grass-fed ghee. So yeah, I mean, with all these other oils like olive oil and all these plant oils, I mean, olive oil if it's just naturally extracted, it's okay. You're still getting all the plant toxins with it. So if you want to stay clear of that, you stay clear of that. Just stick with animal fat, but it's okay. A little bit of olive oil. Olive oil is important to be had on room temperature. Really, if you're cooking on it, it quickly gets destabilized as bonds break and becomes less stable and less good for you, I guess.
Yeah, it's less bad. The avocado, I have it because the
Mm.
other members of the family like to use it.
Mm.
If I'm gonna use something, is the beef tallow, which I have both beef tallow that I bought or beef tallow that I basically render from either fat trimmings or burgers, or I filter it through some cheesecloth and I forget the word, but I filter it and I have it in a bucket next to the stove.
Mm.
So I rather use that than definitely avocado or olive oil or coconut oil, but the rest of the family
Yeah,
prefer that. So I have those are less bad. I think they're less bad. And if you're certainly a vegetarian trying to follow a ketogenic diet, I would certainly use, in particular, the coconut oil. And if you're going to use olive oil, there are many issues about the both avocado and olive oil in particular, where they are adulterated, they're mixed with things like canola, soybean, or corn oil, and you don't even know about it. So you need to buy and be selective a high quality olive oil that you're gonna have to trust the label unless you really want to do more research into how that particular company makes it. But a darker glass or metal uh, container, and preferably should say that it's from one source, not from many countries, because there are a higher risk that someone has put some other oil that's cheaper to produce, right? So comes with some caveats. One
There is.
ninety nine a pound for spare ribs. All right. If Let me see if we have any other questions here. Lenny says I don't really use the avocado oil for cooking, but I do sometimes use some avocado oil mayo for my burger parties. Yeah, there's you can make your own mayo, by the way. And traditionally, mayonnaise is made with raw eggs, but some people feel funny about doing that. I haven't tried it, but you can also make it with boiled eggs. And I'm gonna try to do that. Have a lot of eggs right now there, so but avocado oil, a cup of actual boiled eggs, and you can make a mayo with that. Uh, I occasionally buy a mayonnaise because people in the house want mayonnaise. Uh, so I do buy the avocado mayonnaise. I forget which brand was it that I bought last time, but I've made it myself as well with olive oil and avocado oil. Okay. Rick uses the coconut extract. He extracts the coconut oil to make a soap. This was done by our ancestors, definitely. And this is the one I make lard mayonnaise. And Elaine says I want to try to make my own mayo too. It's just convenient to have the avocado mayo in the fridge. Not enough time in the day.
Mm.
I agree, Eleni. Sometimes there's not enough time, but um, you can actually make it, and flavor is pretty good. It does call, the main recipes usually have a little bit of mustard. So if you're sensitive to mustard, of course, don't do that. A little bit of apple cider vinegar, and some salt. But mayo is very easy to make. I do have a recipe of someone who makes mayonnaise and uses olive oil or avocado oil, but they ferment it for 24, 30 hours before putting it in the refrigerator. And that helps the mayo last longer. In particular, if you're afraid of using the raw eggs, which is the traditional mayonnaise is done like that. Uh, Somewhere I have a video of how to do that.
Mm.
All right. So let's see. I did have, you mentioned the dandruff. That's a very interesting thing. I've heard it before several times. Skin conditions in general, and dandruff, the main cause of dandruff is a type of yeast that causes the dandruff. Seborrheic dermatitis, or seborrhea is the main diagnostic term. But eczema, psoriasis, all these skin conditions is the only thing I keep hearing. They get better.
Yeah.
I still haven't had anyone tell me, "Oh, my psoriasis got worse with carnivore."
Mm.
Could it happen? Probably. Maybe it could happen. I don't know. It seems that most people get improvement. So if
Yeah.
you're listening and you are not following a carnivore or a very low carb, high fat diet, and you have rheumatoid arthritis, we're not talking about prescribing a potent immunomodulator that's going to wreck your immune system so they can handle the inflammation from the rheumatoid arthritis. You can give it a try, a change of food to see if your inflammation gets better.
Mm.
It's very simple. Do you
Yeah.
need did you wait until you were able to go to the doctor to ask permission to go on a carnivore diet, Dom?
No, I didn't. I didn't ask for a doctor. And back when I started 2 years ago, carnivore was not so much out as it is today. I mean, let's face it. Today, when we're out, everybody's heard of or knows somebody at this point. But 2 years ago, when I started, and years ago when you started, it was not something that was out there, and doctors had opinions on it. And yeah, I had a very bad case of skin rosacea. I had like flaking and I had it would just flare up every week, and it was really bad. That cleared up completely.
Karen, you didn't mention if you were carnivore before and after this happened, but uh, yeah, leaky gut is one of those things that a lot of doctors don't even take into consideration, uh, and it can get your skin conditions worse. By the way, the inside of the gut is part of the outside of the body, and unfortunately we don't have that much time to explain it, but
True.
your mouth and your plumbing for getting your food digested and then eliminating the remains, it's all part of the outside of the body. Okay, think about it. You should be able to figure it out, but it is away from the inside of the arteries, from the blood, from the organs. Okay, it is part of the outside of the body. And Luis Villalobos in Colombia, for my psoriatic arthritis, it was the miracle cure. That's what that means, la cura milagrosa. It was doing a carnivore diet, and that's what I hear. And by the way, if you've listened long enough, you should have heard from your favorite people, experts out there. Carnivore is not a miracle cure for 100% of the people for 100% of the conditions, but it comes so close for most things, right? All right. So no dumb questions here. Kills Mighty Tribe. KMT. We're live streaming on Kiltz Health channels. And this is the Kiltz Mighty Tribe, one of the many things that we do. And Dom has to leave because he has a meeting right now at 4 o'clock. So we're gonna leave it here. Sharon, do you think skin tags could be diverticulitis? Just a thought. Skin tags are frequently associated with insulin resistance, acanthosis nigricans, and skin growth. So the connection there is that sometimes the polyps are like skin tags. The colon polyps are like skin tags. I explained it's all the outside of the body. We're going to end here. We want to respect Dom's time. And hello, Angela. I see that you were on Instagram. So have a good day, everybody. Tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. We'll see you in our morning live stream. Okay. Have a
Thank
great
you.
day.
Have a good day.